High creatinine is not just a number on a lab report. It is your kidneys asking for help. And most people don't hear that call until it becomes impossible to ignore. If you have ever looked at your blood test and seen creatinine slightly higher than normal, if your doctor told you, we'll just keep an eye on it, or if you were told, it's probably just age, I want you to listen very carefully today, because creatinine does not rise by accident, and it does not rise overnight. In many cases, it rises quietly, slowly, while people believe they are doing everything right, eating healthy, choosing fruit instead of sweets, avoiding junk food. And yet, the kidneys continue to struggle. Here is something that shocks many of the people I work with. Some fruits that are widely considered healthy, some fruits recommended every single day, can actually be silently worsening creatinine levels when the kidneys are already under stress. Not because fruit is bad, but because the kidneys are tired. And tired kidneys cannot handle certain loads anymore. According to health data, millions of adults have elevated creatinine right now, and most of them don't even know it. They feel a little more tired, they notice some swelling in the ankles, their appetite isn't what it used to be, their blood pressure creeps up, and they think this is just aging. But kidney problems don't announce themselves loudly. They don't scream, they whisper. And if you don't understand that whisper, you miss the chance to protect your kidneys early. That is why I am making this video. Today, I am going to show you 3 fruits that you should seriously reconsider if your creatinine is high or even borderline. And I'm also going to show you 3 fruits that are much gentler. Fruits that support the kidneys instead of overwhelming them. And I want to be very clear, this is not about fear, this is about understanding. Because one of these fruits is eaten almost every day by well-meaning people. People who believe they are helping their health, when in reality they may be making their kidney numbers worse. So please stay with me until the end, because what you learn today could change your next blood test. Now let me explain very simply what creatinine actually is. Creatinine is a waste product. It comes from normal muscle activity. Every time you move, your muscles produce a small amount of creatinine. In a healthy body, this is not a problem. The kidneys filter creatinine out of the blood. They send it into the urine, and the level in your blood stays low and stable. But when the kidneys begin to struggle, when filtration slows, creatinine starts to build up in the blood. And here is the dangerous part. In the early stages, you feel almost nothing. No sharp pain, no clear warning. By the time strong symptoms appear, kidney damage has often been present for years. That is why creatinine is so important. It is not just a number, it is an early warning signal. And many people ignore it because they feel mostly fine. The signs are subtle, a little more fatigue than usual, some swelling in the feet or hands, less appetite, changes in blood pressure, easy to dismiss, easy to explain away. And that is why kidney disease is often discovered late, because as I always say, kidney disease doesn't scream, it whispers. Now let's talk about fruit, because this is where most people get confused. We are told from a young age that fruit is always healthy. And for a healthy person with strong kidneys, that is often true. But when creatinine is high, the rules change. Some fruits contain large amounts of potassium, some are very high in fructose, some place a heavy osmotic load on the kidneys, some contain oxalates that increase kidney stress. These are not bad compounds in themselves, but for weakened kidneys, they can become too much. So there is a big difference between fruit for a healthy person and fruit for someone with elevated creatinine, and no one explains this difference clearly. So people keep eating the same fruits every day, thinking they are doing the right thing, while their kidney numbers slowly worsen. That is why the key message today is this. It is not about eating less fruit. It is about eating the right fruit. Fruit that supports filtration instead of overwhelming it. Fruit that nourishes instead of exhausting the kidneys. And that is exactly what I'm going to show you next. 3 fruits to avoid when creatinine is high, and 3 much better options to eat instead. So stay with me. Your kidneys will thank you for it. Let's begin with the first fruit. And I know this one may surprise you, because for decades, bananas have been promoted as one of the healthiest fruits you can eat. They are soft, Easy to digest, recommended for the heart, often given to older adults because they are gentle on the stomach. Many people eat a banana every single day, believing they are doing something good for their health. And for a healthy person with strong kidneys, that may be true. But when creatinine is high, the story changes. What most people don't realize is that bananas are extremely high in potassium. Potassium is not a bad mineral. Your heart needs it, your muscles need it, your nerves need it, but your kidneys are the organs responsible for keeping potassium in balance. And when kidney filtration slows, potassium begins to build up in the blood. This creates a heavy burden on the kidneys. A medium banana contains a large potassium load. For a kidney that is already struggling, this is like asking a tired worker to lift a heavy box again and again, every day. So what happens when the kidneys can't filter properly? Potassium accumulates, fluid balance is disrupted, blood pressure becomes harder to control, and creatinine levels quietly rise. This is why people with high creatinine often feel more tired than usual, weak in the muscles, heavy in the body, sometimes even irregular heartbeats, and they don't connect it to fruit. Let me share a story with you. I once worked with a gentleman in his late 60s. He was doing everything right. No processed food, no sugar, daily walks. And every morning without fail, he ate a banana with his breakfast. When his blood tests came back, his creatinine had been slowly creeping up for years. Doctors told him to drink more water and reduce salt. No one asked him about fruit. When we gently removed the daily banana and replaced it with a lower potassium option, something interesting happened. Within a few months, his creatinine stabilized, not dramatically, not overnight, but it stopped rising, and that alone can make a huge difference in long-term kidney health. Now, when is banana especially dangerous? It becomes a real problem if your creatinine is already above normal. You eat bananas daily or even more than one per day. You also consume other high potassium foods like avocados, tomatoes, or orange juice. Or you have high blood pressure or diabetes alongside kidney stress. In those situations, the potassium load adds up very quickly, and the kidneys pay the price. So let me say this very clearly and with kindness. This does not mean bananas are bad. It means they are no longer appropriate for certain bodies at certain stages. And this is the sentence I want you to remember. Healthy for the heart doesn't always mean safe for the kidneys. Listening to your kidneys means adjusting what once worked so that you can protect them now. And next, we are going to talk about another fruit that surprises even more people because it is often consumed not as fruit, but as a healthy drink. And for kidneys under stress, that makes it even more dangerous. Let's continue. Now let's talk about the second fruit, and this one is even more misleading because many people don't even think of it as a fruit anymore. They think of it as a health drink, orange, or more specifically, orange juice. I want to be very clear from the beginning. There is a big difference between eating a whole orange and drinking a glass of orange juice. When you eat a whole orange, you get fiber. You chew slowly, your blood sugar rises gently, and the minerals are absorbed more gradually. But when you drink orange juice, everything changes. The fiber is gone, the sugars are concentrated, the potassium becomes dense, and the kidneys receive a sudden load all at once. This combination is very hard on kidneys that are already struggling. Orange juice contains both fructose and potassium in a concentrated form. Fructose increases uric acid production. Uric acid competes with creatinine for excretion. And potassium adds another burden to the filtration system. So instead of helping the kidneys, orange juice forces them to work harder. This has a direct impact on creatinine. Not immediately, not in a dramatic way, but slowly, quietly, consistently. And this is where many people make a common mistake. They start their day with what they believe is a healthy breakfast, whole grain toast, low-fat spread, and a large glass of orange juice. They feel proud of this choice. But for kidneys under stress, this breakfast sends the wrong message, a sugar spike, a mineral overload, and extra filtration demand. First thing in the morning, Let me tell you about a woman I worked with in her early 70s. She had been drinking orange juice every morning for over 20 years, freshly squeezed, no added sugar. She believed it was one of the best things she could do for her health. Her creatinine was not dangerously high, but it kept rising little by little every year. When we removed the daily orange juice and replaced it with a gentler option, her blood tests began to stabilize. Again, not overnight, but the upward trend stopped. That is a victory for the kidneys. Now, what are the signs that orange or orange juice may be affecting your kidneys? You may notice more swelling in the ankles. Your blood pressure becomes harder to control. You feel more tired after breakfast instead of energized, or your creatinine continues to rise despite eating healthy. These are whispers, and the kidneys whisper before they fail. So let me give you this simple rule to remember. The problem is not the fruit, it's the concentration. When you compress fruit into juice, you remove its natural safety mechanisms. And for kidneys that need protection, gentle always works better than strong. In the next part, we are going to talk about a fruit that surprises almost everyone. It doesn't taste sweet, it's praised everywhere. And many people eat it daily, thinking it is the perfect health food. But for creatinine, it can be one of the most dangerous of all. Let's continue. Now let's talk about the third fruit. And this one is probably the hardest for people to accept because it has been praised everywhere. Avocado, it's called a superfood. It's recommended for the heart, for the brain, for inflammation, for healthy fats. Many older adults were told to replace butter, cheese, and processed spreads with avocado. And again, for a healthy person with strong kidneys, avocado can be a wonderful food. But when creatinine is high, avocado becomes a serious problem. And the reason is simple. Avocado contains extremely high levels of potassium, not moderate, not slightly elevated, extreme. One medium avocado can contain more potassium than a banana, sometimes much more. And potassium, as we've already discussed, is one of the hardest minerals for weakened kidneys to regulate. But potassium is not the only issue. Avocado is also very dense in minerals. That density means more work for the kidneys per bite. So even though avocado feels light and creamy, for the kidneys, it is heavy. Let me tell you about a pattern I see often. An older adult switches to what they believe is a clean diet. Avocado toast in the morning, avocado in salads, guacamole with lunch or dinner. They feel proud of these choices, but their creatinine keeps rising, and they say to me, I don't understand. I eat avocado every day. It's supposed to be healthy. And that sentence is the clue. Every day. When kidneys are tired, repetition matters. One avocado once in a while may not cause harm, but daily avocado consumption can quietly overload the kidneys with potassium and minerals they cannot clear efficiently anymore. I have seen many cases where simply reducing avocado frequency, not eliminating all healthy fats, helps stabilize creatinine levels. The mistake is not eating avocado. The mistake is assuming that a food remains appropriate forever, regardless of how the body changes. And this is the sentence I want you to remember as we close this section. When kidneys are tired, even good foods can become harmful. This is not about fear. It is about respect. Respecting the stage your body is in now, not the stage it was in 20 years ago. Now here is the good news. Avoiding certain fruits is only half of the story, because there are fruits that are much gentler on the kidneys, fruits that hydrate instead of overload, fruits that support elimination instead of increasing waste, fruits that help stabilize creatinine rather than push it higher. So let's move into the solution. Let me show you the fruits that truly help when creatinine is high. Now let me show you the other side of the story, because protecting your kidneys is not just about what you remove, it is also about what you choose instead. And the first fruit I want to talk about is one of the simplest, the apple. Apples are not flashy, they are not trendy, they don't get called superfoods very often, but for tired kidneys, they are one of the safest and most supportive fruits you can eat. Here's why. Apples are naturally low in potassium compared to many other fruits. That alone makes them much easier for weakened kidneys to handle. But what really makes apples special is something called pectin. Pectin is a soluble fiber, and soluble fiber plays a very important role when creatinine is high. It binds to waste products in the gut. It helps carry toxins out of the body through the intestines, instead of forcing the kidneys to filter everything through the blood. In simple terms, pectin gives your kidneys help. It reduces the amount of waste they need to deal with. And when the kidneys are not constantly overwhelmed, creatinine has a chance to stabilize. This is why apples don't lower creatinine directly like a drug. They lower the load. And that is often much more effective in the long term. I often explain it this way. You don't fix an exhausted worker by giving them more work. You fix them by taking some weight off their shoulders. Apples do exactly that for the kidneys. Now let me tell you a short story. A woman in her early 70s came to me very discouraged. Her creatinine was slowly rising. She had already removed salt, sugar, and processed food. She asked me, "What else can I eat? Everything feels dangerous now." We simplified her fruit choices. We removed the heavy ones, and we added 1 apple a day. Not juice, not dried, a whole apple. Within a few months, her lab results stopped worsening. She told me something that stayed with me. I finally feel like I'm helping my kidneys instead of fighting them. Now, when is the best time to eat an apple? Mid-morning is ideal, or early afternoon, not late at night. The kidneys work best when digestion is calm and steady. Eating an apple between meals gives you hydration, gentle fiber, and support without strain. I recommend eating it with the skin if possible. Just wash it well. That is where much of the pectin lives. And 1 apple is enough. More is not better. 1 thoughtful choice each day can make a real difference. So remember this. When creatinine is high, apples don't force the kidneys to work harder. They quietly help them do less. And next, I'm going to show you another fruit that many people underestimate. A fruit that protects kidney tissue itself and supports recovery on a deeper level. Let's continue. Now let's talk about a group of fruits that I truly love for kidney support. Berries. They are small, they are colorful, and they are incredibly powerful without being heavy. What makes berries so valuable when creatinine is high is their antioxidant strength combined with gentleness. Berries are rich in natural compounds that reduce inflammation and oxidative stress. And oxidative stress is one of the hidden enemies of kidney tissue. When the kidneys are inflamed, their tiny filtering units become damaged more easily. Antioxidants help protect those delicate structures. But here is something even more important. Most berries are low in potassium compared to many other fruits. That means they nourish without overwhelming the kidneys. Blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, and blackberries are all good options. Each one offers slightly different benefits. Blueberries are especially protective for kidney tissue and blood vessels. Strawberries support circulation and gentle detoxification. Raspberries provide fiber that helps reduce waste load. Blackberries offer deep antioxidant support. You don't need to choose just one. Variety is fine, but moderation is key. This is where people sometimes go wrong. They think these are healthy, so more must be better. But even kidney-friendly fruits should be eaten in reasonable amounts. A small bowl is enough. A handful added to breakfast or as a midday snack is ideal, not blended into large smoothies, not dried, not sweetened. Fresh or frozen is best. Let me share a short example. I worked with a gentleman who loved fruit smoothies. When we removed high potassium fruits and replaced them with a small portion of berries, his kidneys responded very differently. His creatinine stabilized. And he said something very telling. "I don't feel as heavy after eating any more." That feeling of heaviness often comes from overloading the kidneys. Now let me give you one very important tip. Avoid mixing berries with large amounts of protein or heavy fats. Keep them simple. This allows digestion to remain calm and prevents unnecessary strain on the kidneys. So remember this. Berries protect the kidneys by calming inflammation, not by forcing filtration. They support gently. And when kidneys are healing or stabilizing, gentle always wins. Now let's move to the third and final fruit that helps when creatinine is high. This one is often overlooked, but it plays a beautiful role in hydration and waste elimination. Let's continue. Now let me share the third fruit that supports the kidneys beautifully when creatinine is high. And this one works in a very gentle way: pears and papaya. You don't need both. Either one can help. What makes these fruits special is not power, it is softness. They hydrate the body without shocking it. They contain a high water content. They are easy to digest, and they place a very low load on the kidneys. This is exactly what struggling kidneys need. Pears in particular are low in potassium and rich in soluble fiber. They help move waste through the digestive tract instead of pushing everything into the bloodstream. Papaya works slightly differently. It contains natural enzymes that support digestion. Better digestion means fewer byproducts for the kidneys to filter. When digestion improves, creatinine burden often decreases indirectly. This is something many people overlook. Kidneys do not work alone, they work together with the gut. When the gut moves waste efficiently, the kidneys get relief. That is why these fruits are so helpful. They support elimination without force. They reduce residue. They allow nutrients to be absorbed more cleanly, and they don't overload mineral balance. Now let me give you a very practical guideline. Portion size matters. 1 medium pear is enough, or a small serving of fresh papaya about the size of your palm. Not a large bowl, not multiple servings in one day. More does not help the kidneys more. It simply increases load. The best time to eat these fruits is between meals. Mid-morning or early afternoon works well. Avoid eating them late at night. The kidneys need rest, not digestion during sleep. I have seen many people feel immediate relief when they switch to these gentler fruits. Less bloating, less heaviness, more comfort after meals. And when the body feels lighter, the kidneys work more calmly. Now that you know which fruits to avoid and which ones to choose, there is one more very important mistake we must talk about, because even the right fruits can fail to help if they are eaten the wrong way. Let's address that next. Now, before we finish, there is one mistake I must talk about, because this mistake alone can undo everything we've just discussed, and it is very common. The mistake is quantity. Many people think it's fruit, so it must be safe, and they eat large portions. They snack on fruit all day. They mix several fruits together in one bowl. They drink fruit instead of eating it. But when kidneys are struggling, volume matters. Even kidney-friendly fruits can become a burden when eaten in excess. Another common error is mixing several high-potassium fruits together: a banana with orange juice, avocado added on top, a smoothie with everything blended together. Individually, each one might seem reasonable. Together, they overwhelm the kidneys. And the third mistake is choosing juice instead of whole fruit. Juice removes fiber. It concentrates sugar. It delivers minerals too fast. The kidneys don't get time to adapt. So I want you to remember this sentence clearly. More is not better when kidneys are struggling. Gentle is better, simple is better, consistent is better. Now let me speak to you from the heart for a moment, because I know many of you feel worried. You see your creatinine number rise and you think, I've failed my body. But this is not your fault. No one explained this to you before. You were told to eat healthy. You followed the advice. You trusted what you were taught. Your kidneys didn't fail because you didn't care. They became overwhelmed. And overwhelmed systems don't need punishment. They need relief. The kidneys can stabilize. I have seen it many times, not through extreme diets, not through fear, but through small, thoughtful changes, removing what overloads them, choosing what supports them, one fruit at a time, one habit at a time. And this is the sentence I want you to carry with you. Your kidneys can't heal if they are constantly overloaded, but when you reduce the load, they respond. Now, if this video helped you understand your body better, if it gave you clarity instead of fear, I invite you to leave a comment below. Let me know if this topic resonated with you. Please give this video a like and subscribe if you want more gentle, science-based guidance for living well as you age. And most importantly, share this video with someone you love. someone who may be watching their kidney numbers rise quietly, someone who deserves to understand what their body is asking for. By watching this, you are taking care of yourself, and that matters. Now, as we close, I want you to imagine this, your kidneys working quietly, filtering without strain, the body in balance, no urgency, no overload, just steady, calm function. That is what health often looks like, not dramatic, just peaceful. Thank you for spending this time with me. Be kind to your body, and I'll see you in the next video.